how did I become a pastor? Well, let me share this with you. This was not all capital letters. This was not on my to-do list. At all. I did not start out in life saying, I just want to be a pastor. Matter of fact, I grew up in a very spiritual family. Both of my parents were educators. My mother is still living. My father passed away about 2 years ago. My father was a educator. He was a retired school principal, and he was also a very well-known, internationally known opera singer. Dad was a professional baritone, and my mother, she is a retired educator today. And but we grew up in a very spiritual home. But even in the midst of that, I was never pressured or forced to become a pastor, even though we have several ministers in our family. I just always knew since I was a child there was something special about me that I couldn't put my finger on. I had this desire for spiritual things. I don't know where this desire came from. Since I was a little boy, I always felt that there was something or someone with me. As far as I can go back to the age of 3, that's as far as my memory goes. And there was always this presence with me, this comforting presence, and I never could explain it. And I just had a hunger for spiritual things. But as I grew older and I looked at different like uncles and aunts and my grandparents who were ministers, I'm like, that's not for me, So I said, I can serve the Lord in other ways. There's so many different ways to serve God. I don't have to serve God from a pulpit. Besides, I am such an animated person. Even to this day, I'm such an animated person. I do comedy. I am just a comedian. I say pastoring is not for me. But how did I end up into the pulpit? Well, when I went to college, I studied pre-med biology. I always had a love for the natural sciences. So I went to school and I studied biology and chemistry and all the natural sciences with the desire to become a medical doctor. And then all of a sudden in my life, I went through some phases where I just kind of went through this series where I started doubting the existence of God, and I became somewhat of an agnostic because my issue with God was this: why do bad things happen to good people? And I just got this attitude with God. I was just angry with God. And so I left the faith. I had a good time. Yes, I did. I closed my Bible. I did all the stuff that I will never tell you here on this platform. And I just kind of had a prodigal son experience, and still with a lover of science. And so I actually, even though I was studying to become a medical doctor, I actually was on academic probation. I started off in school as a dean's list student, got hooked up with the wrong crowd, got on academic probation, flunked out of school, and that just ended up in this great place of deep depression. And during that particular time in my life, I wrestled with this faith thing, this God thing, this service thing, but it won. Making a long story short, it won. And as a result of it winning, I started pursuing theology, and then I went back to school, and then I was became an ordained minister in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, and then I went on to seminary and received my Master of Divinity degree. I received some other degrees, and then I'm now actually a doctoral student. I'm a doctoral student at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina. But I found peace in the calling to serve others through pastoring. So it overshadowed my desire to become a medical doctor. And I actually worked in the area of mental health for a long time, which also fueled me in theology. My area of specialty was particularly with adolescent youth who had behavioral emotional problems, and also substance abuse or any type of addiction that may be out there. I served as a professional counselor in those areas, but it all kept pointing back to ministry. And so I found the greater peace. I guess my answer to the question is my peace came when I decided to say, well, you know what? I've been wrestling with this theology thing for a long time, and I think I can better serve God through serving as a pastor, which was my calling, which takes me around the world. I do international medical missionary work in Africa and other places in the world, several third world countries, and it has really just reshaped my life. So now the battle is over. I'm happy where I know I am where I'm supposed to be. I'm like a fish that has found its water. I'm no longer a fish on land. I'm a fish in water. So that's kind of my story, how I ended up in the pastorate and love it. And love it now. But I'm still a comedian. I still do several other things. I'm a fitness advocate. I've lost close to 100 pounds. And as a result of that, I share the importance and encourage people everywhere the importance of taking care of our physical bodies, not only our physical health, but also our mental health and how we care for ourselves. And so that's where I am today. That's how I got here. Yes.